IXCR Rnd10 Hunt Club in Barbersville, Indiana. As far as points are concerned, I think Louis ahead of me. I think he knocked me back to third that last race because he wound up winning. Now after drops, I don't think, you know, it'd be a different after drops, but right now I think he's 1 point ahead of me.
Sweet.
So
you're gonna run the GoPro.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear a GoPro this race and film the race.
And you tried a twist throttle last weekend.
Yeah, that didn't go too well.
Didn't go as well as you were hoping.
I've been getting a lot of thumb cramps and stuff, thumb fatigue, and so we talked and I decided to run a twist throttle just to see how it would do. So I raced one race on an off series with a twist throttle, and it had its advantages, but it had a lot of disadvantages, and it just wasn't for me.
Something that would probably take more than a race to get used to.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I got used to it, I might like it a little bit more, but I didn't really give it a good chance. I just put it on and raced with it. But I went back, I wound up putting a Honda 90 thumb throttle on there. The lever's a little bit longer, smoother pull, so we're hoping for good luck with that. We're hoping for good results today. I know I need a good placement to keep my points.
Heck yeah.
To stay in the points.
How many more races after this?
There's 2 more after this, John Vincent and Rock Run.
There's a couple of guys out for redemption today. So we're gonna have a tough day on the track. Sneaky Snake is out for redemption. The Viking is always up there.
Who's a sneaky snake, Byron?
Oh, he's the main sneaky.
Is it really a sneaky snake if he's always out in front?
Yeah, and when he's behind you, you always tend to think that you're doing good, but you know he's one of those guys you have to look over your shoulder because he's going to come out of nowhere.
He was moving last weekend.
Oh yeah,
putting up the fastest lap times and everything.
Yep, that's why I say he's the headmaster of the Sneaky Snake. He just comes out and bites you.
How do you feel about stealing Jared McClure's nickname?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Jared McClure might not like that.
Alright guys, Dirt Obsession back with you as Brent had some trouble at the start and heads into the woods at the back of the pack. Louis' start was even worse, and they had their work cut out for them picking their way through their class to get back up to the front over the first couple of laps. We join Brent a short way into lap 1 as he starts catching up to the first group and making some passes as he tries to gain ground on the leaders. Getting a bad start is frustrating for any racer because it means you're going to have to exert more energy picking your way through the group as the faster guys in the class pull further ahead because they aren't getting bogged down with as much traffic. We're going to fast forward a bit to show you just how much ground he had to cover to start seeing the group again, but this also gives you an idea of the terrain at a typical XC race. Hunt Club didn't have any crazy hills, but it was a lot of creek beds, twisties, and textured terrain. Here's some of the slower, more technical sections of the track. Burning through this at 1,000,000 miles an hour is likely to put you out of the race, and 2 hours is an endurance race as much as it is speed. You can already start to see fatigue setting in for some of the riders. This is one of the pitfalls of a tight course, as Brent exercises some patience for a few seconds, and ultimately decides to apply some positive encouragement to the stuck rider in front of him. As Brent mentioned in the pre-race interview, he's back to a thumb throttle for this race, after trying a twist throttle last weekend in his Extreme Series race. There's a few reasons why guys want to try twist throttles on quads, and we know there have been more than a few GNCC champions who use twist throttles on their race bikes. Chris Borich and Hannah Hunter come to mind. There are some challenges too. I sat down with Brent before his race to find out what he learned about using a twist throttle in his trial by fire run during the Extreme Series race. The biggest advantage Brent mentioned was not having to deal with thumb fatigue of a typical throttle. Depending on your throttle, thumb fatigue can set in early or later, but on a 2-hour race, most people are going to experience some fatigue eventually. The challenge with a twist throttle on a quad is that quads aren't ridden like dirt bikes. On a dirt bike, steering technique takes a variety of different forms. Racers can counter steer by pushing against the bar on the side they want to turn. They can also use their weight on the pegs to steer or even lean the bike. They steer with the power to the back tire, and then there is a little bit of steering in the traditional sense with the handlebars. But it's much different than steering a quad, where most of the steering action takes place by moving the bars in the direction you want to go and countering the rolling force with your body weight. A quad takes a little less technique than a dirt bike because it's a little more rudimentary in terms of technique applied to steering. 4 wheels obviously make the machine more stable, but the rider has less ability to avoid obstacles and take a cleaner line. That's why quad races in XC are shorter than bike races by an hour, because a quad rider is taking a little more abuse from the track. And I didn't just make that up because we're quad guys. Barry Hawk, who won 7 GNCC championships on quads and 1 GNCC championship on a bike, has said quad racing is harder on the body. So getting back to twist throttles, when you're steering completely with the bars, the twist throttle becomes a little harder to manage. According to Brent, left turns were the worst, as his throttle hand extended out, causing him to apply inadvertent throttle, hence the nickname Whiskey Throttle. That was the biggest challenge with the twist throttle, and for Brent, the advantage in not dealing with the fatigue of the thumb throttle wasn't enough for him to try to stick it out with the twist throttle. He did, however, employ the old Bill Balance trick of switching to a Honda 90 throttle, which offers more leverage and a lighter push. We've added Honda 90 throttles to a few quads, and it has improved the throttle push on all of them. So our advice, before dumping a ton of dough on the expensive adjustable throttles, try a Honda 90 throttle for about $25 and see if that helps. Byron, Louie, and Brent took 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively in this race, and they still sit 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in their class in the same order. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. We'll see you right here for the next one.